Hello everyone. Welcome back to Naruto Fix. Today we have another interesting What If Naruto story. Which is what if Naruto unlocked a forgotten bloodline that made him irresistible to every woman he met. Part 1. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this content. Now, without wasting any time, let's begin. The day Naruto Uzumaki unlocked a forgotten bloodline. Started with a punch. A very painful punch. Courtesy of Sakura Haruno. Pay attention, Naruto. Sakura shouted. Naruto rubbed his head. Ow. What was that for? Because Kakashi-sensei has been talking for 5 minutes. Naruto blinked. Oh. Kakashi sighed. Good to know my teaching methods are still effective. Sasuke rolled his eyes. Just another normal day for Team 7. At least, that's what everyone thought. Far away, deep beneath the Uzumaki clan ruins, ancient seals suddenly activated. Golden chakra spread across forgotten walls. Dust exploded into the air. Ancient symbols glowed for the first time in centuries. Then words appeared. The Heart Sovereign bloodline has found its successor. Meanwhile, back in Konoha, Naruto suddenly sneezed. Achoo! Everyone looked at him. Naruto scratched his nose. Weird. Sasuke folded his arms. You're weird. Naruto gasped. Says the emo guy. The Uchiha's eye twitched. Sakura sighed. Kakashi sighed. Life was normal. Until the next morning. Naruto woke up, stretched, yawned, and walked outside. Then everything became strange. Very strange. An elderly woman immediately smiled. Good morning, Naruto. Naruto smiled back. Morning. Nothing unusual. Then a civilian girl smiled too. Then another. Then another. Naruto frowned. He kept walking. The reactions continued. Women smiled, waved, started conversations. Naruto became suspicious. Very suspicious. Because yesterday, nobody acted like this. Eventually he reached Ichiraku Ramen. Ayame smiled. But this smile felt different. Warmer. Friendlier. Naruto sat down. Morning Ayame. She smiled again. Morning Naruto. Then she stared. For several seconds. Naruto immediately panicked. Do I have something on my face? Ayame blinked. What? Quote. My face. She laughed. No. Naruto remained suspicious. Something was happening. He could feel it. Unfortunately, he had no idea what. Meanwhile, inside the Hokage Tower, the third Hokage suddenly paused. His crystal ball flickered. Golden chakra briefly appeared around Naruto. The old Hokage's eyes widened. No. He immediately opened an ancient scroll. Then another. Then another. Finally, he found it. A forgotten Uzumaki record. His eyes widened. Oh dear. Very far away, at the abandoned Uzumaki clan ruins. Ancient writing illuminated the walls. Thousands of years ago, before villages existed, a unique bloodline was born. Not a dojutsu. Not physical strength. Something else. The bloodline of hearts. A rare ability said to belong only to one Uzumaki every several centuries. The power to naturally connect with people's emotions. To inspire. To comfort. To attract. To make others feel safe. Over time, people simply called it the Heart Sovereign bloodline. Unfortunately, there was one side effect. Women became extraordinarily susceptible to its influence. Not because it forced feelings. Because it amplified existing emotions. Kindness became admiration. Admiration became affection. Affection became attraction. And Naruto was already one of the kindest people alive. Which made him the perfect candidate. The result? Disaster. Absolute disaster. Later that afternoon, Naruto arrived at Training Ground 7. Sakura was already there. The moment she saw him, she smiled. Naruto froze. Sakura blinked. Naruto blinked. Sakura blinked again. Naruto pointed. You smiled. Quote. Yes. At me. Quote. Yes. Naruto stepped backward. What is happening? Sakura frowned. You're being weird. Quote. Naruto gasped. I'm being weird. Sasuke arrived. Then immediately noticed something strange. Sakura wasn't staring at him. At all. Instead, She kept glancing toward Naruto. The Uchiha frowned. Naruto frowned. Kakashi arrived. Then he frowned too, because something definitely felt off. The next day, things escalated. Ino approached Naruto. Voluntarily. Naruto almost fell over. Ino. The blonde girl laughed. Why do you sound surprised? Naruto pointed at himself. You're talking to me. Quote. Yes. Naruto's brain stopped functioning. Meanwhile, inside the Hyuga compound, Hinata was suffering terribly, because somehow, Naruto looked even more attractive today, which shouldn't have been possible. The poor girl activated her Byakugan, then immediately deactivated it, because seeing Naruto smile made her heart race. Even more than usual. Back in the village, Naruto was experiencing another problem. Women kept helping him. A civilian offered him free food. Another offered him flowers. Someone fixed his jacket. Someone complimented his eyes. Naruto became terrified. Am I dying? Several birds flew away, because that was very loud. Meanwhile, the third Hokage was developing a headache, because the effects were accelerating. Fast. Very fast. Then disaster arrived. The Chunin exams. Participants from every village entered Konoha, which meant more kunoichi. A lot more. The moment Naruto entered the academy building, several girls turned, then several more, then dozens. Naruto immediately panicked. What is happening? Hiba stared, then sighed. You don't know. Naruto blinked. Know what? Hiba looked toward the sky, because even he didn't have enough energy for this. Meanwhile, far beneath Konoha, the ancient Uzumaki bloodline awakened further. Golden symbols spread across Naruto's chakra network. The power continued evolving, because this wasn't its final form. Not even close. And very soon, the entire shinobi world would discover something terrifying. Naruto Uzumaki hadn't merely awakened a forgotten bloodline. He had awakened one of the most dangerous abilities the Uzumaki clan ever possessed. An ability capable of capturing hearts everywhere he went. All while Naruto remained completely clueless. And that was exactly what made the situation so dangerous. The Chunin exam building had become Naruto's nightmare. Everywhere he looked, someone was staring at him. Naruto looked left. 3 girls quickly looked away. He looked right. 2 girls suddenly became interested in a wall. He looked forward. A kunoichi from another village smiled. Naruto immediately became suspicious. Very suspicious. This is bad. Sasuke glanced at him. What now? Naruto pointed around the room. Everyone is acting weird. Sasuke followed his gaze. Then froze. Then frowned even harder. Because Naruto wasn't imagining things. Something was definitely happening. Meanwhile, inside Naruto's body, golden chakra slowly flowed through his pathways. The forgotten bloodline was evolving. Its effect becoming stronger. Not because it was forcing people to like him. It simply amplified who Naruto already was. His kindness, his smile, his determination, his optimism. Everything became more noticeable. And for someone like Naruto, that was extremely dangerous. Because Naruto had one of the purest hearts in the shinobi world. The written exam began. Ibiki Morino entered. The room instantly became silent. His killing intent spread everywhere. Everyone became nervous, except Naruto, because he was too busy wondering why people kept looking at him. Then disaster struck. A kunoichi sitting behind him accidentally whispered, "He's even cuter up close." Naruto froze, then slowly turned around. The girl immediately looked away. Naruto's eyes widened. Me. She turned red instantly. Meanwhile, Sakura's eye twitched. Then Ino's eye twitched. Then Temari, who happened to be nearby, noticed too. A dangerous atmosphere slowly formed. Naruto remained unaware. Again. Hours later, the forest of death began. Team 7 entered the massive forest. Naruto smiled. Finally, something exciting. Sasuke sighed. Sakura sighed. Because somehow Naruto was more comfortable fighting giant monsters than understanding basic emotions. Deep inside the forest, Things escalated. A team from another village encountered Team 7. Normally they'd attack. Today, the female member hesitated, then smiled awkwardly, then forgot why she was there. Her teammates stared. "What are you doing?" Exclamation mark quote. The girl blinked. "I don't know." Naruto blinked too. "I don't know either." The entire situation became awkward. Meanwhile, deep beneath the Uzumaki ruins, ancient symbols illuminated another chamber. A hidden message appeared. Warning. Heart Sovereign Bloodline compatibility exceeds all previous records. The symbols glowed brighter. Current compatibility. 98%. Then another line appeared. Subject. Naruto Uzumaki. Status. Exceptional. The ruins trembled, because no previous user had reached this level. Thousands of years ago, this bloodline had belonged to leaders, kings, protectors, heroes, but none of them possessed Naruto's level of emotional strength, which meant the bloodline was adapting, evolving, growing stronger. Back in the forest, Orochimaru finally appeared. His killing intent exploded. The forest shook. Animals fled. The atmosphere became suffocating. Sakura froze. Sasuke trembled. Naruto stood ready. Then something unexpected happened. Orochimaru paused. The Sannin stared directly at Naruto. Then narrowed his eyes. Naruto blinked. "What?" Orochimaru studied him carefully. Then smirked. "Interesting." Naruto groaned. "Not you too." Even Orochimaru looked confused. "What? Everyone keeps saying that." The Sannin actually laughed, because even he could sense something unusual. Naruto's presence felt comforting, warm, inviting, which was absurd. No shinobi should feel that way in a battlefield. Yet somehow, Naruto did. The battle proceeded. History mostly stayed the same. But one thing changed. Orochimaru became curious about Naruto. Very curious. Far more curious than he should have been. And curiosity from Orochimaru was never a good thing. Days later, the preliminary matches began. The arena filled with participants. Naruto defeated Kiba, just like history intended. Except, the audience reaction was ridiculous. Girls from multiple villages cheered. Naruto waved. Big mistake. Several girls immediately blushed. Kiba stared. What is this guy? Nobody knew. Meanwhile, inside the Hokage Tower, the third Hokage sighed, because he finally understood something terrifying. The bloodline wasn't slowing down. It was accelerating, and eventually, the entire shinobi world would notice. The Sand Village, the Mist Village, the Cloud Village, the Stone Village, everyone, and Naruto. Naruto still thought people were just being nice. Quote, which made the situation infinitely more dangerous. Because an unaware Naruto Uzumaki was somehow even more powerful than an aware one. The month before the Chunin exam finals should have been peaceful. For most people, not for Naruto, because his life had officially entered chaos. Every single day something strange happened. One morning he woke up, opened his apartment door, and found flowers. Naruto stared. Quote. The next day, more flowers. The day after that, chocolate. Then handwritten notes. Then gifts. Naruto slowly closed the door. Waited 10 seconds. Opened it again. Everything was still there. This is definitely a genjutsu. Quote. Unfortunately, it wasn't. Meanwhile, inside the Hokage Tower, Hiruzen sighed for the 15th time that morning. The old Hokage was tired. Very tired. Several reports lay before him. The title of each one made his headache worse. Increased emotional response around Naruto Uzumaki. Female Chunin acting unusually around Naruto. Cross-village participants showing interest in Naruto. The third Hokage put the papers down. Then looked toward the ceiling. Minato, your son is becoming everyone's problem. Meanwhile, Naruto walked through Konoha, and things kept getting worse. A civilian girl smiled. Naruto smiled back. Critical damage. Another girl complimented his jacket. Naruto thanked her. Critical damage. Another girl laughed at his joke. Maximum critical damage. Naruto remained clueless, as usual. Then suddenly, Naruto. He turned around. Hinata stood there, nervous, very nervous. Naruto smiled. Hey Hinata. Her heart immediately betrayed her. Because somehow, Naruto looked even better today. Which made absolutely no sense. The Heart Sovereign bloodline was evolving again. Every time Naruto grew stronger emotionally, the bloodline adapted, and Naruto was constantly growing emotionally. Helping people, protecting friends, encouraging others. The bloodline loved that. Naruto pointed. Are you okay? Hinata froze. Why yes. Your face is red. Hinata almost exploded. Several birds flew away. Kurenai watched from a distance. Then sighed. Poor Hinata. Meanwhile, inside Naruto's body, golden chakra spread further. Ancient symbols briefly appeared over his heart. Then vanished. Naruto stopped walking. What was that? Nobody answered. Because nobody else could see it. Several minutes later, Naruto arrived at Training Ground 7. Sakura was already there. She smiled. Again, Naruto narrowed his eyes. Suspicious. Very suspicious. You've been smiling a lot lately. Sakura froze. What? Quote. Naruto folded his arms. You're being nice. Sakura blinked. Quote. And, that's weird. Sakura's eye twitched. Then she punched him. Bam. Naruto flew into a tree. Then smiled. There she is. Sakura immediately regretted existing. Elsewhere, Ino was experiencing her own problems. The blonde Kunoichi had one mission. Ignore Naruto. Simple, easy, reasonable. She failed, spectacularly, because she accidentally saw him helping an elderly woman carry groceries. Then he smiled. Then she forgot what she was doing. Ino immediately hid behind a wall. This is ridiculous. Unfortunately, the bloodline agreed, and amplified her feelings anyway. Meanwhile, far away, the Sand Village was preparing for the finals. Temari sat beside Gaara, listening to reports. Then she heard his name. Naruto Uzumaki. Immediately her attention shifted. Gaara noticed. The future Kazekage slowly blinked. Then wisely said nothing. He enjoyed being alive. Several days passed. The effects became impossible to ignore. Everywhere Naruto went, people naturally gathered, not because they were forced. Because being around him felt good, comfortable, safe. And for Shinobi, those feelings were rare, extremely rare. One afternoon, Naruto sat alone atop the Hokage monument. Watching the sunset, the village glowed orange beneath him. Peaceful, beautiful. Then footsteps approached. He turned. Temari stood there. Naruto blinked. Temari. She folded her arms. I was passing by. Naruto looked around. They were on top of a giant mountain. Quote. Were you? Quote. Temari's eye twitched. Do you want me to leave? Naruto immediately shook his head. No. Then he smiled. A genuine Naruto smile. Warm, bright, pure. Temari instantly regretted making eye contact. Because somehow, the stories didn't do him justice. At all. Far beneath Konoha, the ancient bloodline pulsed again. Then another hidden message appeared. Warning. Heart Sovereign bloodline entering second stage evolution. The ruins trembled violently. Ancient walls cracked. Thousands of years of dust exploded into the air. Then another message appeared. Current emotional influence. 27%. Projected maximum influence. Unknown. For the first time in history, the system couldn't calculate Naruto's potential. Because nobody had ever combined this bloodline with Naruto Uzumaki's personality. Nobody. Back in Konoha, Naruto yawned, completely unaware, and that was exactly what made him terrifying. Because if Naruto ever learned how this bloodline truly worked, the entire shinobi world would never be the same. The worst part, the finals hadn't even started yet. And soon, women from every major village would begin noticing him too. The chaos was only beginning. The Chunin exam finals finally arrived. And with them, the beginning of Naruto's biggest problem yet. The stadium was packed. Thousands of spectators filled the seats. Kage from multiple villages had arrived. Powerful shinobi gathered everywhere. The atmosphere was electric. Naruto stood in the waiting area, stretching, relaxed, excited. Meanwhile, several girls in the audience were specifically there for him. Naruto had no idea. As usual, Sakura noticed, then frowned. Ino noticed too, then frowned harder. Even Temari, sitting with the sand delegation, noticed. Things were becoming dangerous. Naruto happily waved at everyone. Big mistake. Several girls immediately blushed. Naruto smiled. Bigger mistake. The Heart Sovereign bloodline reacted. Deep inside his body, golden chakra pulsed, not visible to normal people. But people could feel it. Warm, comforting, safe. The effect spread throughout the stadium. Several people smiled without understanding why. Others suddenly felt inspired. Naruto blinked. Huh. Then the announcer shouted, Naruto Uzumaki vs Neji Hyuga. The crowd erupted. Naruto walked into the arena. Neji stood calmly opposite him. Their eyes met. The battle began. Neji attacked instantly. Palm strikes. Fast movements. Perfect precision. Naruto was pushed backward. Again. And again. And again. The audience watched silently. Then Naruto stood up. As always. A cheer erupted. Naruto wiped blood from his mouth. Then smiled. The crowd cheered louder. Naruto frowned. Why are they cheering? Neji stared. Are you serious? Naruto scratched his head. Yeah. Neji almost lost concentration. Because honestly, the guy was unbelievable. The battle continued. Naruto refused to quit. Every time he stood up, the bloodline reacted. The people watching felt it. His determination, his kindness, his unbreakable spirit, everything amplified. The crowd slowly shifted. They weren't watching a shinobi anymore. They were watching hope itself. And that was terrifyingly powerful. Finally, Naruto defeated Neji. The entire stadium exploded. People stood up. Thousands cheered. Even experienced Jonin smiled. Naruto grinned. Then scratched his head. Did I do something cool? Several people almost fainted. Meanwhile, far beneath Konoha, the ancient ruins trembled violently. A hidden chamber opened. Then another. Then another. Finally, a giant stone tablet revealed itself. Words appeared. The sovereign has been recognized. The walls shook. Stage 3 evolution initiating. Golden energy exploded throughout the ruins. For the first time in centuries, the bloodline fully awakened. Back in Konoha, Naruto suddenly stopped. His chest glowed briefly, then vanished. Naruto blinked. What was that? Nobody answered. Then disaster arrived. The invasion began. Genjutsu spread. Explosions erupted. Chaos consumed Konoha. People screamed. Shinobi rushed everywhere. Naruto immediately sprang into action. No hesitation. No fear. Only action. Protecting civilians. Saving children. Helping injured villagers. The bloodline loved it. The more selfless Naruto became. The stronger it grew. Gaara transformed. Shukaku emerged. The giant beast roared. The forest shook. Naruto chased after him. History moved forward. Yet something changed. Gaara stared at Naruto. Then paused. Because through all the hatred, through all the pain, Gaara felt something. Warmth. Hope. The same thing everyone else felt. Naruto's heart. The battle ended. Gaara changed. The invasion failed. Konoha survived. But something else had changed too. Far away, in the Mist Village, a kunoichi heard Naruto's name. In the Cloud Village, another heard stories about him. In the Stone Village, more people became curious. And in every place, women found themselves increasingly interested in one person. Naruto Uzumaki. The problem. This was only Konoha. He hadn't even traveled the shinobi world yet. And the Heart Sovereign bloodline was still evolving. Its final form remained unknown. The prophecy hidden inside the ruins had one final sentence. A sentence nobody in Konoha had read yet. When the sovereign fully awakens, every heart he touches shall remember him forever. And somewhere deep inside destiny itself, the shinobi world was preparing for unprecedented chaos. Months passed. The Chunin exams ended. Konoha slowly rebuilt itself. And Naruto's life should have returned to normal. It didn't. In fact, it became much worse. Everywhere Naruto went, people noticed him, not because he was loud anymore, not because he was a troublemaker, because his presence itself had changed. One morning Naruto entered Ichiraku Ramen. Ayame smiled, then smiled again, then forgot what she was doing. Naruto blinked. Ayame. She snapped back. Oh, sorry. Naruto frowned. Is everyone sick? Chuki almost laughed, because Naruto still had absolutely no clue. Meanwhile, deep inside Naruto's body, the Heart Sovereign bloodline continued evolving. Golden chakra slowly intertwined with Kurama's chakra. Something that had never happened before. Ancient seals trembled. Then a hidden voice echoed. Impossible. The Nine Tails and the Heart Sovereign are synchronizing. The ancient ruins shook violently. Because this was unprecedented, the bloodline originally amplified emotions. But Kurama possessed enormous chakra. Now, the two energies were merging, creating something far stronger, far more dangerous. Back in Konoha, Naruto was eating ramen, completely unaware, as usual. Then Jiraiya appeared. The legendary Sannin sat beside him, and stared. Long. Very long. Naruto noticed. What? Jiraiya sighed. You feel different. Naruto froze. You too. The old Sannin laughed. Everyone keeps saying that. Quote. Naruto pointed dramatically. Yes. Jiraiya chuckled, then suddenly became serious, because he genuinely sensed it. Naruto felt warm, not physically, emotionally, comforting. Like being near him made people calmer. Even Jiraiya wasn't immune, which worried him a lot. That evening, Naruto walked through Konoha. Children ran toward him. Naruto Nisan. Naruto smiled, then spent 20 minutes playing with them. Several women nearby watched, then smiled even more. One whispered, he's going to become an amazing Hokage. Another nodded, absolutely. Naruto remained unaware. Meanwhile, inside the Hyuga compound, Hinata was suffering, again, because somehow, Naruto looked even more attractive today. The poor girl sat inside her room, trying to train, trying to meditate, trying to focus. Nothing worked. Every thought somehow returned to Naruto. His smile, his kindness, his voice. Hinata buried her face in her hands. Meanwhile, Sakura wasn't doing much better. The pink-haired Kunoichi was training. Then suddenly remembered Naruto helping civilians after the invasion. Then remembered him smiling. Then remembered his eyes. Sakura immediately punched a tree. Boom. The tree exploded. Why am I thinking about him? Elsewhere, Ino dropped flowers. Tenten missed targets. Even Tamari, back in the sand village, found herself thinking about Naruto. Gaara noticed, then wisely chose silence. The Cage valued his life. Far away, inside the cloud village, a young Kunoichi heard a story. The hero of Konoha. Yeah, they say he's handsome. They say he's kind. They say he's incredibly strong. The Kunoichi smiled. I'd like to meet him someday. And Destiny quietly took note. Because soon. Everyone would. Meanwhile, Naruto slept peacefully. Then suddenly, darkness appeared. Not a dream. Not a nightmare. A void. Naruto stood inside it. Golden symbols floated around him. Thousands of them. Ancient. Powerful. Then a voice echoed. Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto jumped. Who's there? The darkness trembled. Then an ancient figure appeared. A man. Tall. Red hair. Golden eyes. Ancient robes. The stranger smiled. At last. Naruto blinked. Who are you? The man answered. I am the first sovereign. Naruto stared. Then pointed at himself. The what? The man chuckled. The first wielder of your bloodline. Naruto froze. The ancient man slowly walked toward him. Then looked directly into Naruto's eyes. And suddenly, thousands of memories flooded Naruto's mind. Kings, warriors, heroes, leaders, all Uzumaki, all previous sovereigns. Then Naruto saw something terrifying. Entire nations following one person. Entire armies inspired by one person. Entire civilizations changing because of one person. Naruto stepped backward. What is this? Quote. The ancient sovereign smiled. Your future. Naruto's eyes widened. Then the man spoke words that changed everything. Naruto. The heart sovereign bloodline doesn't simply attract women. Naruto blinked. It attracts destiny itself. The void trembled. Stars appeared. The entire universe unfolded before Naruto. Then the ancient man continued. The more people believe in you, the stronger you become. Quote. Naruto froze. Because he finally realized something. His greatest weapon was never chakra, never strength, never karma. It was his heart, and that heart was becoming powerful enough to influence the entire shinobi world. Far away, hidden eyes watched, ancient enemies stirred, because a new sovereign had awakened. And once the world discovered his existence, nothing would ever be the same again. Naruto woke up instantly. His eyes shot open. Sweat covered his forehead. The sunrise had barely begun. Birds chirped outside. The village remained peaceful. Yet Naruto couldn't stop thinking about the dream. The first sovereign. The ancient memories. The words. It attracts destiny itself. Naruto sat on his bed. What does that even mean? Unfortunately, nobody answered. Then his stomach growled. Lunch first. Priorities. Meanwhile, deep beneath the Uzumaki ruins, the ancient chamber glowed again. The giant tablet trembled. Then another message appeared. Current sovereign. Naruto Uzumaki. Stage 3 evolution. 43% complete. Warning. Influence growth accelerating. Thousands of golden symbols illuminated the walls. Then another line appeared. The world has begun noticing him. Back in Konoha, Naruto walked toward Ichiraku Ramen. Then immediately regretted it, because the entire street smiled at him. Again, Naruto stopped, then looked around, then looked toward the sky. Am I famous now? An old man laughed. A little. Naruto smiled. Cool. Unfortunately, it wasn't. A little. It was becoming enormous. Elsewhere, inside the Hokage Tower, the third Hokage looked exhausted. A massive pile of reports sat before him. His eyes slowly scanned them. Then he sighed. Again, the reports came from every nation. Sand Village, Mist Village, Cloud Village, Stone Village, all contained Naruto's name. The old Hokage closed his eyes. Oh dear. Because Naruto was no longer a Konoha phenomenon. He was becoming a shinobi world phenomenon. Meanwhile, Sakura walked through the market. Then she saw Naruto helping children. Again, he was buying them food. Again, then smiling. Again, Sakura sighed. Idiot. Then she smiled too. Then she immediately became annoyed. Why am I smiling? Because the heart sovereign bloodline was growing stronger. Every selfless action Naruto performed amplified its power, and Naruto was the definition of selfless. Inside the Hyuga compound. Hinata was suffering once again. Her Byakugan activated accidentally. She immediately saw Naruto's chakra. Then froze. Golden energy flowed around him. Not visible to ordinary people, but visible to her. Her eyes widened. That's beautiful. Then she immediately covered her face. Because she said that out loud. Back outside, Naruto continued walking. Then suddenly, he bumped into someone. Thud. Oh sorry. Quote. Naruto quickly helped the person up. A young woman from another village. She blinked, then stared, then smiled. Naruto smiled back. Critical damage. The woman forgot how to speak. Naruto became concerned. Are you okay? She nodded rapidly, then ran away. Naruto stared. Quote. Everyone is weird. Meanwhile, far away, inside a hidden temple, three mysterious women stood before an ancient mural. The mural had suddenly changed. The image showed a blonde-haired shinobi. Naruto Uzumaki. One woman gasped. It happened. The second frowned. So soon. The third looked worried. Nobody has awakened the sovereign bloodline to this extent before. Quote. The room trembled. Then an ancient voice echoed. Protect him. The women froze. Because they understood. If enemies discovered Naruto's true bloodline, he would become a target. A very valuable target. Back in Konoha, Naruto sat atop the Hokage monument, watching the sunset. Again, because this was his favorite place. Then footsteps approached. He turned. Sakura, Hinata, Ino, all at once. Naruto blinked. What are you guys doing here? The three girls froze, because none of them expected the others. The atmosphere instantly became dangerous. Naruto sensed it, but didn't understand it, as always. Then he smiled. Cool. The girls immediately relaxed, then immediately became flustered, then immediately became annoyed at being flustered. Naruto sat down. Come watch the sunset. The girls slowly sat beside him. Nobody spoke. Nobody needed to. For a brief moment, everything felt peaceful. Then deep inside Naruto, golden energy erupted. The Heart Sovereign bloodline pulsed violently. Then another message appeared inside the ancient ruins. Stage 4 evolution beginning. The walls shook. Then one final line appeared. Soon, he will become unforgettable. And far away, someone opened their eyes. Ancient, powerful, dangerous. Then smiled. So, the new sovereign has finally appeared. For the first time, a real enemy had awakened. And Naruto still had absolutely no idea. Because while everyone else was preparing for destiny, Naruto was thinking about ramen. Exactly as fate intended, Naruto had no idea his life was about to change forever. Again, the next morning began peacefully. Too peacefully, which was usually a bad sign. Naruto woke up, stretched, yawned, then headed toward Ichiraku Ramen. Halfway there, something strange happened. People started moving toward him. Not intentionally, almost instinctively. A mother carrying groceries smiled. A child ran toward him. An elderly man waved. Even passing shinobi nodded respectfully. Naruto blinked. The phenomenon was getting stronger. Much stronger. Meanwhile, deep beneath the Uzumaki ruins, ancient mechanisms activated. Golden seals illuminated another chamber. Thousands of years of dust exploded outward. Then a message appeared. Stage 4 evolution. 12% complete. Current status. The sovereign is becoming a beacon. Another line appeared. Warning. Powerful entities can now sense him. The walls trembled violently. Back in Konoha, Naruto sat at Ichiraku. As usual, Ayame smiled. Chuki smiled. Even customers smiled. Naruto finally snapped. Why is everyone so happy to see me? The entire restaurant became quiet. Then Ayame laughed. Because you're Naruto. Naruto blinked. I've always been Naruto. Nobody had an answer. Because he wasn't wrong. Unfortunately, he was also completely wrong. Naruto wasn't the same anymore. The bloodline had begun changing him. Not his personality, his presence, his very existence. Elsewhere, inside the Hyuga compound, Hinata suddenly stopped. Her Byakugan activated on its own. Her eyes widened, because Naruto's chakra had changed. Golden streams now intertwined with blue chakra. The energy resembled sunlight, warm, safe, beautiful. Hinata accidentally whispered, "He's glowing," then immediately covered her face. Across the village, Sakura was training, then suddenly paused, because for no reason at all. She wanted to see Naruto. Then she froze. What? The pink-haired Kunoichi shook her head. No. Then she resumed training. 10 seconds later, she stopped again, then sighed. Stupid Naruto. Meanwhile, Ino dropped an entire bouquet. Tenten missed 3 targets. Even Anko noticed something was wrong. The effects were spreading, not uncontrollably, but naturally, because Naruto's influence was growing. Then, something unexpected happened. That night, Naruto entered his dream again. Darkness surrounded him. Stars floated everywhere. The first sovereign appeared. The ancient man smiled. You've returned. Naruto crossed his arms. Okay, we need to talk. The sovereign chuckled. About what? Naruto pointed. Everybody is acting weird. The ancient man laughed. Then he stopped. Then became serious. Naruto. The stars trembled. The Heart Sovereign bloodline isn't a weapon. Quote. Naruto blinked. It's not. The man shook his head. No, it is a blessing. The universe around them changed. Suddenly Naruto saw countless people. Villagers, shinobi, children, families, all smiling, all inspired, all believing. Then the sovereign spoke. True power isn't making people fear you. Naruto watched silently. It's making people feel safe around you. Then another vision appeared. Entire nations. People from every village, every country, every land. Then Naruto saw himself. Older, stronger, wiser. Standing above the shinobi world. Not ruling it, uniting it. Naruto froze. Is that me? The sovereign smiled. Perhaps. Then his expression changed. But every light creates shadows. Suddenly, the stars shattered. Darkness spread everywhere. Then one eye appeared. Gigantic, ancient, terrifying. Watching Naruto, the blonde ninja stepped back. What is that? The sovereign's smile vanished. An enemy. The darkness shook violently. Then the eye blinked. A voice echoed. The new sovereign has awakened. Naruto felt goosebumps cover his body. The voice continued. Eliminate him before he reaches completion. Everything exploded. Naruto woke up. Immediately. Breathing heavily. The moonlight entered his apartment. His heart pounded. For the first time. He felt fear. Real fear. Meanwhile, far beyond the nations, far beyond the known world, ancient figures stood inside a hidden sanctuary. All of them stared at a glowing image. Naruto Uzumaki. One figure smiled. Another frowned. Then their leader spoke. So, the final sovereign has finally appeared. Then he said something terrifying. Prepare the hunters. Because the moment Naruto awakened this bloodline. He didn't just gain admirers. He gained enemies. Ancient enemies. Enemies who had waited thousands of years for someone exactly like him. And unfortunately for them, Naruto Uzumaki was unlike anyone they had ever faced. Naruto didn't sleep again that night. The dream kept replaying inside his head. The giant eye, the ancient enemy, the words, prepare the hunters. For the first time in a long time, Naruto felt uneasy. The next morning, he stood atop the Hokage monument, watching the sunrise, trying to clear his mind. Then footsteps approached. Kakashi, the silver-haired Jonin, immediately noticed something. Naruto was quiet, which was extremely unusual. What's wrong? Naruto blinked. Nothing. Kakashi stared. Long. Hard. You're thinking. Naruto looked offended. I always think. Kakashi raised an eyebrow. Not this much. Quote. Naruto sighed. Then he explained the dream. Not everything. Just parts of it. Kakashi listened carefully. Then his expression slowly changed. Because this didn't sound normal. At all. Tell Lord Third. Quote. Naruto blinked. Is it that serious? Kakashi nodded. Dreams involving ancient people and giant eyes are usually bad news. Fair point. Meanwhile, far away, inside an enormous underground sanctuary, several ancient warriors gathered. Black robes, golden symbols, silver eyes. None of them were ordinary humans. The leader stood before a massive map. In the center, one point glowed. Konoha. Then Naruto's image appeared. The leader narrowed his eyes. So that's him. Another figure stepped forward. He awakened far sooner than expected. The leader nodded. Too soon. Then he spoke words that changed everything. The Heart Sovereign must never reach completion. Quote. Everyone in the room became silent. Because if Naruto succeeded, the shinobi world itself would change. Back in Konoha, the third Hokage listened to Naruto's story. Then he became serious. Very serious. He walked toward an ancient bookshelf. Opened a hidden compartment. Then pulled out a forbidden scroll. Dust exploded everywhere. Naruto coughed. How old is that thing? Hiruzen answered immediately. Older than Konoha. Quote. Naruto froze. Then the old Hokage opened it. Words appeared. The final sovereign. Naruto blinked. The final what? The third Hokage read carefully. Then his eyes widened. Oh no. Naruto panicked. What? Exclamation mark. Quote. Hiruzen looked at him, then spoke slowly. Naruto. This bloodline isn't supposed to exist anymore. Naruto froze. What do you mean? The old Hokage sighed. Thousands of years ago, the sovereigns disappeared. Quote, because someone hunted them. Naruto's expression changed. The room became silent. Then Hiruzen continued. The stronger a sovereign became, the more dangerous they became. Naruto frowned. Dangerous how? Quote. Hiruzen pointed at him. You. Naruto pointed at himself. Me. Yes. The Hokage sighed. You naturally make people believe in themselves. You inspire. You unite. You create bonds. Naruto listened silently. Then Hiruzen said something terrifying. And that's exactly why ancient enemies feared them. Because united people were unstoppable. Naruto slowly sat down, trying to process everything. Meanwhile, across Konoha, the bloodline evolved again. Golden particles floated invisibly around him. The entire village unknowingly felt it. Children laughed more. People smiled more. Arguments ended faster. Hope increased. Naruto's influence spread naturally. And nobody realized it, except one person. Kurama. Inside the seal, the giant fox opened one eye. Then another. He stared at the golden energy. Then spoke. So, it finally awakened. Naruto suddenly appeared inside the seal. Huh. Kurama stared at him. Then smirked. Brat. You've become troublesome. Naruto blinked. What did I do? Kurama laughed. That's the problem. You didn't do anything. The fox looked upward, then became serious. But they will come. Naruto froze. They. Kurama's red eyes narrowed. The hunters. The seal trembled, because even Kurama remembered them. Ancient beings. Beings that hunted sovereigns for thousands of years. Then suddenly, a massive pulse spread across the world. Naruto's bloodline evolved again. The pulse reached every nation. The Sand Village. Gaara opened his eyes. The Mist Village. A mysterious kunoichi looked toward the horizon. The Cloud Village. Several powerful shinobi felt something. Even hidden enemies paused, because everyone felt it. Hope, warmth, safety. Naruto Uzumaki. His existence itself was beginning to influence the world. And far away, the hunters smiled, because they finally had a target. For the first time in thousands of years, a final sovereign had appeared. And the war for his future was about to begin. Months passed. The hunters had awakened. Ancient enemies had begun moving. And Naruto finally understood something. His life would never be normal again. One evening, Naruto stood atop the Hokage monument. The wind blew gently. The village glowed beneath him. Peaceful, beautiful, alive, everything he ever wanted to protect. Then footsteps approached. Kakashi, Sakura, Hinata, Sasuke, even Iruka. Naruto smiled. Everyone's here. Quote. Iruka laughed. Of course. Naruto looked at them. Then at the village. Then at the sunset. A warm feeling spread through his chest. The Heart Sovereign bloodline glowed. Then something unexpected happened. Instead of growing stronger, it calmed down. Deep beneath the Uzumaki ruins, the ancient tablet illuminated one final time. Words slowly appeared. Final evaluation complete. Sovereign accepted. The ruins shook. Then a final sentence appeared. The greatest power was never attraction. It was love, trust, and the ability to unite hearts. The entire chamber became silent. Then all the golden symbols faded away. Meanwhile, Naruto closed his eyes, and for a brief moment, he understood. This bloodline wasn't a gift for himself. It was a gift for others. To inspire, to protect, to unite. Naruto smiled. Then suddenly, the world changed. The giant eye from his dreams appeared one final time. High above the stars, watching him. Then it spoke. Naruto Uzumaki. The blonde shinobi didn't flinch. He smiled. Yeah. The eye remained silent, then slowly closed. Its presence disappeared forever. Because something had changed. The hunters understood. Naruto wasn't becoming a conqueror. He wasn't becoming a king. He wasn't becoming a ruler. He was becoming a symbol. And symbols couldn't be destroyed. Because they lived inside people's hearts. The hunters retreated. Ancient enemies vanished. The threat ended. Not because Naruto defeated them. Because Naruto had already won. Long ago, every child he inspired, every friend he saved, every life he touched, every person who believed in him. That was his true strength. Kurama smiled inside the seal. HMPH. Not bad, brat. Naruto laughed. Thanks. The Nine Tails closed his eyes. Then relaxed. For the first time in centuries. Everything felt peaceful. Years later, Naruto finally became Hokage. The village celebrated. People smiled. The shinobi world united. And standing atop the Hokage tower, Naruto looked exactly the same. Still loud. Still kind. Still obsessed with ramen. Still completely oblivious to how many women had fallen for him. Some things never changed. Then Naruto smiled. The entire village smiled too. Because that's who Naruto Uzumaki was. Not the final sovereign. Not the owner of a forgotten bloodline. Not the most irresistible man alive. But the boy who turned loneliness into hope. The shinobi who united hearts. And the hero who inspired an entire world.